Welcome back to the channel. So, One Piece has had news, and I have been waiting for a while now. There have been other news, like them casting Helmeppo, and them casting, I think, Shanks, maybe? That was like a while ago. I didn't really cover all that because it's just small tidbits of news that weren't really noteworthy. But yeah, I covered this a long time ago, and I'd like to cover it again because I am on that copium train of One Piece. One Piece is literally one of my most favorite animes of all time, one of my most favorite mangas of all time, and yeah, I am high on that copium. I am drowning on it. I am in for the win, but I only say this because two main reasons. Two. All right, Oda himself is personally involved, and the casting choice was good. And then, right, this is the more reasonable, logical statement to be, not into this. Live actions in all throughout of history have been terrible. Absolutely terrible. Netflix is making it. And if you know the track record of Netflix and live actions, they've been absolutely terrible. Other than maybe Witcher. Yeah. Maybe first season of Witcher. So that is that. And there's also too many reasons for not being hopeful that Netflix One Piece will be good. But we shall see. The title of this is called Netflix One Piece Test Screening Disaster Live Action Series is Awful by Clownfish TV. So, we shall see. I have not read the article or anything, so yeah, we shall see.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, not
Hi,
here
Neon.
with Geeky Sparkles in this video, but we're going to talk about One Piece, the live-action adaptation coming to Netflix. This is a show that nobody is looking forward to. Nobody...
Like, I can't say no one. You can't say no one's looking forward to it because, our base level of hype is already, at the base, right? We know how live actions go, but, I like One Piece, so I can't help but be hopeful. Again, the casting is pretty good for now, and Oda's personally in on it. But also, oh my god, the title of that article. What is it? Fandom Wire? Netflix One Piece live action test screening reportedly a slaughterfest of bad CGI and nonsensical story. Okay, yikes.
He thinks this is a good idea, and apparently nobody liked what they saw of it. According to Fandom Wire, according to test screenings, it was awful. Reportedly a slaughterfest of bad CGI and nonsensical story. Did anybody think that One Piece could be adapted faithfully in live action?
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of do, but here's the thing. My only two main reasons: we saw the casting, it was good. Sanji a little bit, a little on the fence there with Sanji, but also, it's only going to Arlong Park. It's not going further than that, I think. But, Oda's also involved. Gotta write that copium.
No, I didn't either. And look, Netflix should have learned its lesson from Cowboy Bebop. We're going to talk about that and how they decide to cancel shows. And I think...
Oi. Okay, so, the thing about Cowboy Bebop, I think I already talked about it. Absolutely terrible. You do not... Here's the thing about turning anime into live action. I'm pretty sure the vast majority of the time, people, when they go to live actions, right, they're expecting a bit more of a grounded experience. Anime is anime for a reason, right? Super exaggerated, over the top, crazy, fantastical, all those kind of things. But when you bring things from anime to live action, right, you can't have a Looney Tunes experience unless that's the kind of goal you're going for. If you're talking about what was that series of movies by the Wayne brothers, or not Wayne brothers, the Wayans, Marlon Wayans, I think that's what their name is, or his name is. And it was like scary movie, like pretty much over the top, not really Looney Tunesy, like what is it, Space Jam, but like you know what I'm talking about. Like it's supposed to be a comedic, you know, over the top tropes of horror movie genres and like cliches, right? So when audiences are going in to an anime that's being turned into a live action, we expect characters who are a bit over the top to be a bit more grounded and more realistic. And so if it is bad, like it's being said, then, you know.
I think this one was greenlit before Cowboy Bebop, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I can't.
Oh yeah, I forgot about my Cowboy Bebop topic. Cowboy Bebop was pretty bad. There were some good parts about it. I think what made it worse is the press about it, and also that one chick being an idiot on the internet, and then the whole Ed and the dog. I forget their names now. But yeah, like that character, a little over the top. Whole bunch of not political but more social narratives involved in the show, and like again, I think most people don't care, right? A good show's a good show. Also, people don't want you telling them what to think. That type of deal, right?
Can't keep track of who's coming and going, but Cowboy Bebop was a colossal failure, and I think Cowboy Bebop actually lends itself to live action much better than something as fantastical as One Piece. This is going to be a train wreck, guys, if it ever sees the light of day. I mean, I'm sure it will eventually, but test screening's not good.
It would be so crazy if they completed it and then they're re-editing it and then they do another test screening. It's so bad that they just scrap the whole project. Give that a thought, and the amount of money that you wasted.
This is probably going to be a one and done, like Cowboy Bebop again. It got canceled like a week or two after the show dropped, and a lot of what determines whether or not these shows are going to get renewed is the cost of the show and the completion rate. And we'll talk about that. Basically, do people watch the entire show, or do they watch 2 episodes and then nope out? And I think that's what happened with Cowboy Bebop. A lot of people watch Cowboy Bebop because, hey, it's Cowboy Bebop, or we're going to watch it and see how bad it actually is. And then,
yeah, I know a lot of people who watched the live action just to see how bad it was, or just to watch it to see what all the hype is about, and then they probably gave up in like 3 episodes, I think. I think one of my friends in particular was like, I think he watched the first episode and was like, I think I'm good, because it's not true to the original concept of Cowboy Bebop back in the day.
And they watch it and it's a disaster, and they only watch like 2 episodes. That's what I did. I watched the first 2 episodes, and then I watched the very last episode just to see how bad the kid that played Ed was. And thank God they pulled the plug on this thing. Yeah. So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, go out to clownfishtv.com. Help support the channel at thereef.support. And we do talk a lot about anime, the animation industry, Netflix, Hollywood, all the stupidity going on in pop culture. This one's coming from Fandom Wire. Netflix's One Piece live-action test screening, reportedly a slaughterfest of bad CGI and nonsensical story. Doesn't sound very promising, does it? Oh. One Piece is one of the most popular anime series that has been running for over 2 decades. I remember when it first came out. I remember when the manga first came out.
It's obviously before my time, but I remember when it was showing the reruns on, was it Jetix or 4Kids? I forgot which one. It was like Jetix, 4Kids. One of the early morning shows, and it was the English dub. And of course, I'm sure everyone who's watched One Piece for a long time knows that the English dub was absolutely terrible. It only ran for like, I think like 14 episodes or something, and then it got deleted because it was so bad. But yeah, I watched the reruns early morning. I think in like elementary school. I think around that time. But yeah,
The epic adventure of Monkey
Good
D.
stuff.
Luffy and the Straw Hat Pirates has captured the hearts of millions of fans around the globe. The anime series is known for its outstanding storytelling, action, humor, and emotional moments that are loved by fans of all ages.
yes, Oda has really good writing. Except I will say, my one critique of Wano is that it probably could have been longer. But again, we know that Oda wants to end One Piece within a certain time frame and not make it longer. But of course, I'm sure a lot of people, me in particular, you know, I wish we kind of knew a bit more about Zoro because again, I think one of my friends told me in one of like the questionnaires that they did, Oda was like, "Oh yeah, Zoro's related to this and that person, and then he's like a far off relative of Shimotsuki village, right, and all that stuff." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." So it's one of those moments where I'm like, I wish they could have done that. Oh yeah, and then there was like a kid in his backstory too, that was all in a questionnaire. I wish all that stuff was in the manga, so I don't have to go out and look for it, you know. And I'm sure most One Piece fans don't even mind it, because when One Piece ends, it's a literal end of a generation, right? 2 generations or something. Because One Piece has been going on for so long. And I'm pretty sure One Piece will most likely end when I'm like in my 30s, maybe. At least I would believe that. But with the way Oda is doing things and what he's said in the past, maybe in my late 20s, probably. But yeah.
The show continues to gain millions of fans, and as a result, a live-action series was announced in 2020 based on Oda's manga series of the same name. So yeah, it was announced before live-action Cowboy Bebop failed miserably. So I think they have a contractual obligation to do this thing. Well, some fans of the series felt that it was a good idea. Others called it a horrible idea due to Netflix's earlier adaptations of anime series like Death Note, Bleach, and Cowboy Bebop.
Well, okay. Bleach was not terrible. Bleach was not that bad. Right? They even had the Kamen Rider Forze actor in it. But like, it wasn't that bad. But Death Note, the only good thing about Death Note was that William Dafoe voiced Ryuk. That was it. Everything else about Death Note, complete and utter garbage. Throw that shit in a fire, take all those ashes, and chuck those ashes in a pool of boiling lava. That's how bad it was. Cowboy Bebop, again, not as a severe of a disgrace, of a tearing of the fabric of the universe, but like Cowboy Bebop was still bad. Everyone knows, like if you look throughout history and you watch like Japanese live actions, like here's the thing, right? If the country that anime originated from cannot even do their own live actions correctly, what makes you think that you can do it correctly? Answer me that. Right? That's the question. So, of course, while I am still dosed up in my copium, right, I really want One Piece to do extremely well because it's such a beloved series of mine that I tune in to, read every week, right? Watch every week. I want it to do good. I want it to be good. But the logical and reasonable person in my mind, I understand the history and how live actions go. And also how entertainment is nowadays. And how I'm very tired of entertainment nowadays. We know it's going to be a dumpster fire.
They were all a disaster. Recently, a trusted scooper from Hollywood, a trusted scoper from Hollywood tells us the CGI in One Piece was abominable, and fans were not surprised about it. How do you make Luffy look good in live action?
You're going to have to pull a Fantastic Four with Mr. Fantastic. That's about it.
Riddle me this. As soon as they announced this, I'm like, there's no way in hell they're going to make his powers look good in live action. It's going to look ridiculous. It's going to look like freaking 90s Fantastic Four movie levels of bad. When the announcement of the live action series of Oda's One Piece was announced, it was met with a lot of criticism by anime and manga fans.
Yeah.
Recently, Divinity Seeker gave a scoop on the test screening of the live action series by Netflix, where they stated that the show tested horribly. The CGI was horrible, and the story of One Piece made no sense to the casual viewers. Hence,
Oh God, who are the writers? Is Oda writing this? Who are the writers? Is Oda, giving them input? If the episodes make no sense to casual viewers, that is very, very, very bad. That is terrible. All right? Even if the CGI is bad, CGI can be forgiven when the story and the writing is done well. Right? Shit can become better shit if it's written well. All right? All right.
every episode of the Netflix adaptation are being rewritten. Holy God, it's so bad they have to rewrite it. In a series of tweets, Divinity Seeker stated that the first episode of the series heavily deviated from the source material. Hey guys, remember when we expressed concerns about this and other people expressed concerns?
Yes. Halo show. Star Wars. Right? Those are the only two things that came to mind. I'm sure there's more. But yeah, especially the Halo show though. Like, Master Chief, really? More like Master Beef, right? All you had to do was Control C, Control V. Easy, right? It's not harder than that.
Concerns about this, and everybody's like, oh, it's fine, Oda's involved. It'll be fine, guys. It's not going to be like Cowboy Bebop.
Yes,
it's going to be fine.
Yes.
I'm like, bitch, this is Netflix. This is Netflix. You actually expect this to be a faithful...
True. It is Netflix. True. But copium.
Adaptation. Do you know how much it would cost to make One Piece look good in live action? A lot more money than Netflix is willing to spend these days.
Too much.
Right? First half of the episode...
But I also want to read the tweets. From a source connected to Netflix, Avatar The Last Airbender will no longer be released in 2023. That's technically good, because from what I've heard about the Avatar The Last Airbender, just to refresh people's minds, I'm pretty sure the original creators left that and was like, you guys are not sticking to our original idea and the purpose and the thought process behind the original series. So we don't want to be involved in this anymore. I think that was the kind of TLDR of it. And then also they tried to modernize it. And again, I don't know what's it about with all these companies and trying to modernize shows for modern audiences. Ugh, boring. Z's. Right? Just make a good show. Quit trying to modernize stuff. It's really annoying. Right? We want good entertainment. No one cares about whatever messaging if it's a good show. Right?
The episode was full of flashbacks. The other half of the episode quickly introduced the viewers to the first 4 crewmates of the Straw Hat Pirates. The Scooper continued that his source stated that the tone of the show is not working.
All right, hold on.
Half of the episode quickly introduced the viewers to the first 4 crewmates of the Straw Hat.
On One Piece, in the first episode, the first half is completely all flashbacks. Features a young Luffy before we jump into the present and rush through introductions to Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji within the remaining 15 minutes. Wait, is this a movie or is this a TV show? I forget if this is a movie or a TV show. If it's a movie, it's going to be a bit rough because again, like from episode 1 to Arlong Park is like, I'm thinking like 200 episodes, something like that, maybe less, maybe more. Yeah, maybe less. But yeah, like you're going to have to condense Luffy meeting the Marine kid, or the kid that wants to be a Marine. Forgot his name. Oh my god, I'm so bad at remembering names. Meeting the pink-haired kid, and then the big lady with the hammer that has the slick fruit, whatever it's called. And then you're going to have Luffy beating up the corrupt Marine, and then you're going to have all those other arcs. Like, you're going to try and condense all of these arcs, right? Meeting Zoro, meeting Usopp in his village, and then Usopp's little story in that village, meeting Sanji and Sanji's little story, and then the whole Mihawk thing, right? That's a lot. And all that happened before Arlong Park. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. And if you're going to rush through things, this is going to be really bad. Really, really bad.
Pirates. The Scooper continued that his source stated that the tone of the show is not working for them, and the looks of the cast were different from the original characters. Well, it's never...
Ugh. Like, I don't expect the characters to be one-to-one, right? Especially Usopp. Again, Usopp he got a bone in his nose, too. That type of deal. Like, his nose is like Pinocchio. Like, that's already going to be a bit rough. And then realistically, nobody in the world has a swirl for an eyebrow, right? I don't mind those little touches and changes, right? As long as you can look at the character like any anime and being like, that's Luffy. That's Zoro, right? Just like in all those wallpapers with just the silhouette of the character, or even just the outline of the character, you automatically look at them, you're like, that's Naruto. That's Ichigo from Bleach, right? That's freaking JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which I started watching recently. But yeah.
Good, which added to the difficulty of the live-action series, making it inconsistent. However, he acknowledged he does not know anything about the original show, and from what he saw of the test screening, it looked fine to him, but some of them had unnatural hair colors. From what he saw, inconsistent.
Let's see. As for the tone of the show, it's not really working. The makeup look of some of the cast looks off. The show jumps between being over the top goofy to being serious. It's jarring and inconsistent. That kind of is how One Piece is. But yeah, but I think this critic in particular probably, I think in the show, I'm going to assume things now. Maybe they're doing it too much, right? From being goofy to serious, and it doesn't fit with the tone and the mood of what's going on in that particular moment, right? So I would say that's valid criticism.
However, he acknowledged he does not know anything about the original show, and from what he saw of the test screening, it looked fine to him, but some of them had unnatural hair colors.
Which, again, in anime, the different hair colors is just so you're more able to easily identify different characters. Like, if you look at all the One Piece characters at the bottom there, you look at their heads and you automatically know who they are, minus Frankie. Right? When Frankie had the whole pompadour, right? You could tell him even more. But now you just have to look at Frankie's kind of no neck and shoulders, and you're like, oh, that's freaking Cyborg Frankie, right?
Well, the first test screening failed to meet expectations of the creators. They're making changes so that it can add to the popularity of the anime and the manga series. But is a live-action One Piece series possible that features authentic characters and a story true to the source material? No, I don't think so. Not without a ridiculous budget.
True. And I hope that they pumped a lot of money into this. But from the looks of things, probably they didn't. Especially if the writing makes no sense and the CGI looks off. Then that means that the budget for One Piece was probably lower than the budget for Cowboy Bebop.
It would take a ridiculous budget to get One Piece to work in live action.
But then again, a lot of the money probably went to the sets because the sets are mostly not on land. Again, like Baratier, that's an entire fight, an entire scene, entire kind of small arc for Sanji early on. That's in the middle of the ocean.
The idea of the live action series was already bad news, and numerous fans of the show were unsure if the OTT platform could pull off a successful adaptation. No, it's not going to go well. So it's not going to go well. It's going to go just like the Cowboy Bebop series went. It's going to come and go, and people are going to forget it existed, other than to meme it.
Yeah, people are only going to remember that it was bad, and then people said that it was bad. It's just like when a game comes out and has like a bunch of bugs that make it unplayable, like again, Cyberpunk 2077, even though I'm sure now the bugs have been flashed out and the game works perfectly fine now. People are just going to remember that, oh, isn't that the game that came out with a bunch of bugs and is a terrible dog game? Yeah, that's what people are going to remember.
Cowboy Bebop was axed after, what was it, 2 weeks? Yeah, 10 episodes prior to the November 19th was its 2021 debut. The Hollywood Reporter noted the show garnered only a 46% positive critical score, and they canceled it, December 5th? December? They canceled it after like 2 or 3 weeks. It was crazy. And here's what probably factored into it. Beyond the critical score, it is watch time. It is completion rate, right? The completion rate is important. This is why it was such a big deal that Amazon's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, only had a 37% completion rate. Now that's on Amazon, and they're probably going to get paid.
Ooh. Now I have my thoughts on The Ring of Power. Like, I think the show was not too bad, even though there was a lot of things bad about it. Like, again, you had a very Mary Sue character. I think the dwarves and the whole thing with like the elf dude and the dwarf guy and his wife and all that, I think all that was cool, right? I think that was probably my most favorite kind of storyline. I hate the Harfoots. I hate wannabe Gandalf, even though I'm pretty sure it's Gandalf. And I hate the elf guy because he looks more like a dark elf than an actual elf, right? If we're going based on typical fantasy elements of regular elves versus dark elves, right? So yeah, that whole storyline, and then the whole like sword and the blood freaking thing, right? All that stuff, terrible. I didn't like all that stuff all that much. But the dwarves was cool.
Because of all the money they already sunk into the show. But on Netflix, if people don't watch your show to the end, that means you've failed, because the chances of them coming back for a second season are slim to none.
It also applies to YouTube videos. Like, if people don't watch your YouTube video all the way through, it doesn't do too well on your channel either.
This is coming from BGR.com. They said they speculate the completion rate is probably why Netflix cancels shows so quickly. The completion rate refers to the percentage of Netflix users that start and finish a show. A report said that Netflix might end TV shows after 2 years, around when it's time for a cast and crew to negotiate. They're basically trying to figure out what does it take for Netflix to actually cancel a show, and the completion rate is a big part of it. What happened with Cowboy Bebop? Because I remember, it was at the top of the charts, and everybody's like, oh my God, this thing is like the #1 show on Netflix. Well, yeah, they promoted the hell out of it. They had it on the front page of Netflix, on the homepage. But people were probably watching the first episode or the first 2 episodes, realized it was dog shit, and turned it off. And if One Piece is that bad, the same thing is going to happen. You're going to see it top the charts the first week or two. People are going to tune in just to see how bad it is, and then they're not going to watch anymore, right?
Yeah.
And they're not going to renew this show. I think they have a contractual obligation to do it, but Netflix has actually canceled shows that were greenlit. Netflix has canceled shows that were mid-production before because they knew that it was going to be a disaster. They weren't going to get a return on their investment. They're throwing good money after bad. So I have to wonder if this One Piece adaptation is so god-awful, would Netflix actually be like, you know what, we cannot salvage this. Look at what happened with Cowboy Bebop. We're not going to do this again. Just pull the plug. We'll just take the write-off, pay Oda whatever kill fee we have to pay him, and just vault this thing. That might be the best course of action at this point. Just,
I predicted it earlier. They might just, hey, I said it earlier. I said it before all this, right? They probably, if it's that bad, and they have to rewrite everything, and it gets canceled, they're probably just going to just be like, nah, we're not releasing it. This was a terrible jump into a den of wolves that we shouldn't have jumped into, and we're not going to release it. But we'll see.
Throw it in the damn vault and just be done with it, because it sounds like it's going to be a train wreck. Nobody expected this to be good. But again, for One Piece to work in live action, it's going to take a lot more than Cowboy Bebop would have taken. Cowboy Bebop was basically filmable. The anime was filmable if you had a proper budget. I mean, kind of the same with, Battle Angel with Alita. We saw that, that particular adaptation could be done in live action. It could be done well if you had the right team and the right budget, because it was basically filmable. One Piece is not something I would consider filmable, given a lot of the character designs and a lot of the, the special attacks, and it's just, I don't see it working. But
yeah, Cowboy Bebop and Alita, from what I can remember, I would say the way that they made those animes, and they're kind of made, right? A bit more sci-fi, you can do it with CGI, a lot more doable, because there's not, Dragon Ball Z, Kamehameha, giant nine tails, right? All those like super crazy things that you would need, super crazy CGI and time to do. I would say that a lot of these shonen animes that require a lot of special effects are going to be extremely hard to do. And I personally wouldn't know how you would do it. But I think you would have to probably choose a lot more of the grounded-ish shows, right? And doing this in quotations. Grounded shows to put into live action. Like, I think Fullmetal Alchemist was doable, and then they screwed it up. I forget who was the director, or if it was Netflix Japan doing it, but it was pretty bad. But again, right, you got to choose a bit more grounded shows to try and do. Like, Japan did Death Note back in the day, and that was actually really good. I enjoyed it. I liked it. But then Netflix does it, and
if they want to go ahead and do it, they want to freaking bleed out money. I mean, by all means, Netflix, if you want to keep losing money.
Damn.
If you want to keep losing money.
At least it went up. At least it went up a little bit. But still bad.
Go for it. You release this One Piece live action show, and we'll see how much money you lose. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Alrighty.
Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.
Alright, so that was an interesting video. Let's see here. Just remember that Gundam Zerzo did 2 live-action stage plays with giant robots and sold out every single show. They aren't the only ones either. Sakura Wars ran from 1996 to 2008 on Final Fantasy. Got a live play, even though the was sold out. They got it was successful. The Rurouni Kenshin live actions, again, they're grounded shows. Gintama, more grounded. JoJo's Diamond Unbreakable saw success. I'm not too sure about that. Assassination Classroom, not too sure about that. Let's see. Ace Attorney. Again, a lot of these shows are grounded, right? Assassination Classroom, the only thing that wasn't grounded was the alien freaking teacher. And also I heard that recently the Assassination Classroom is getting banned in schools in the US, which I swear to God, these people, you don't know what you're talking about. Read it, right? It's an alien. A guy who turned into an alien and blew up the moon. and all these kids are assassins, right? Like, come on, read it. Read this, the source you're trying to ban. JoJo's, I would say, is, I think the only thing that's like not grounded in JoJo's is the stands, right? I think that's it. Everything else is like whatever. Everything else I would say is kind of in the realm of reality, minus the stands. But then like if you were going to do a expectations versus reality of JoJo, the expectation is like you would see the stands, and the reality is you just see a couple of dudes just freaking standing around, and then you would see them react when they get hit. And you're just like, what the heck's going on? Let's see. Kodoku no Gourmet, what? I don't know that show. Probably could up later. The US saw moderate success with Alita and Speed Racer. Speed Racer was cool. Yeah, Speed Racer was cool. The awful special effects and live action aren't the problem here. The fact is that the showrunners have no idea what they're going into and are banking on recognizable name to sell. I think that's a part of it. I don't think it's the whole thing, but yeah. And it's Netflix. They haven't done one adaptation right. Yep. Japan has a history with its anime stage plays adaptations, though. They accept that it's going to be severely reduced due to the stage medium. Personally, after live action adaptations, they're always worse than the source material. They're always worse than the source material intended. I'd rather see a full anime adaptation of Gundam than another Alita movie. Let's see. It's not just Netflix, Hollywood in general, in Japan. Okay. Considering One Piece strives on the fact that it's a cartoon, anime, manga, it makes you think about what they were thinking when agreeing to make a live action. I mean, the main character's core power is basically being a rubber man. Yeah. Plastic Man, Mr. Fantastic, you know, all those things. Looney Tune gags. Yeah. Let's see. Didn't know about this. The funny thing is, Death Note and Cowboy Bebop are both easy to adapt to live action if you stick to the original source material. True. They're very grounded and realistic for the most part, so adapting them live action is not difficult. True. This always happens when Western studios think they're so much more smarter than the original creator, which they're not, that they can deviate from the source material and end up making something nonsensical and stupid, just like they did for those two products. Western studios need to stop thinking they're better than Japanese and take some notes. Whenever it's comic books or TV shows in general, the East has got the average Western attention for good reason. Yeah, and that is why comic books in the US are losing to manga, right? I'm pretty sure I haven't looked at the adult graphic novels list in a long time, but I'm pretty sure it's always like at some point Batman is at the top, at some point Spider-Man's up there as well, and then you see My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, Solo Leveling, Chainsaw Man, Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero, Chainsaw Man, right? It's pretty much exactly that. So yeah, that's about it. I think there's nothing really else to talk about. But yeah, so hope you guys liked the video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Comment your thoughts down below. Was I right? What was I right about? What was I wrong about? All those things. Differentiating opinions are welcomed. But yeah, see you guys in the next video.